You're listening to Wicked Thoughts, a podcast by Flair Castro, founder of DashoContent. This show is dedicated to helping founders and professionals understand business trends, digital marketing, and how to be a better entrepreneur. In Season 6, we dive into a dash of AI in marketing, exploring how artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the marketing landscape. From automation to personalization, we'll uncover the impact of AI on marketing strategies and execution. Let's get into it in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, and welcome to Dashed and Wicked Thoughts webinar and podcast series. For Season 6, we are tackling AI in marketing. I'm Flair Castro, your host, founder and CEO of DashoContent. And with me is my co-host, Ms. Charlene Verlove, Chief of Staff of DashoContent. Hi, Ms. Charlene.
Hi, Miss Flair.
So, DashoContent is a content subscription platform and AI marketing company. We help marketing teams and startups supercharge storytelling for brands through content, code, and community. Dashed is our education arm, and Wicked Thoughts is my personal podcast. We thought about combining both initiatives to champion AI and marketing for Southeast Asia. Without further delay, let me introduce our guest today on the pod to talk about thought leadership, entrepreneurship, and artificial intelligence. We have the wonderful privilege of introducing a distinguished guest, Kate Hancock. Kate's entrepreneurial journey began with a modest investment of $20 in an e-commerce platform, which rapidly grew into an 8-figure sales success. This approach in the beauty industry earned her multiple spots on the INC 5000 list, extending her expertise to hospitality. She built a top-ranked hotel through the use of influencer marketing and AI, and her strategic real estate investment showcased her diverse business acumen. Now, Kate's influence extends beyond entrepreneurship. As a globally recognized business advisor and keynote speaker, she has shared her insights with major corporations and at prestigious academic institutions, including presenting on Web3 at Harvard Business School. And in addition, her recent founding of the Global AI Council highlights her commitment to ethical AI and accessible education. Please join us in welcoming Kate Hancock. Hi, Kate. Welcome.
Wow, thank you for the intro.
That's a whole bio about you. You have wonderful credentials, and really everyone would aspire to be you. But let's go a bit back. When we met in Makati in that coffee shop, what really astounds me was the fact that you actually came from an entrepreneurial family, right? You started Van Dep in Mindanao. So can you tell us a bit about your journey, just to get started? Your journey from being there, part of an entrepreneurial family, and to being a global leader.
Yeah, so I started super early. I started working as early as 10. It wasn't really nice, actually. I didn't have a lot of freedom. I wish I could hang out with friends, like, summer, like Holy Week. That's the pain because that's the most order for pastel or the pastries and coming in. So we have to work. So as much as I wanted to be an entrepreneur at that time, I hate working. So I started working as early as 10, and I feel like I didn't really have that much of a choice, but I definitely learned a lot of work ethics there because I know no one is allowed to stop working until orders are done and fulfilled. So
Oh
I
my gosh.
yeah, it was a lot of hard work, but that was my inspiration. It started from my grandmother. My mother was part of it. I was part of it. I was actually part of cleaning the molds and baking as
What?
well. Yes, that was it was super, super startup. And I saw how it grew into an enterprise. My aunt scaled it. My sister's still involved. My cousin now the CEO, but I'm not involved with the business. But I learned my hard work ethics from
There
that
it is.
business. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. And then did this inspire you to build your own thing?
Yeah, so there are some challenges of being part of a family business, right? I mean, I'm definitely a stubborn person. I don't want to be told what to do. So I'm very
That's all
motivated
right.
by the like I need to figure out what I can do for myself that I don't have to report to someone else. So it took me a while to figure it out, but definitely I was a good employee, but I like to be a creative person. I remember working for a skincare company in the US, and I get a chance to be creative, and it always worked, but somehow there's so many rules in a corporate world. You're not allowed
Sure,
to do
yeah.
this, the sign, you can't do that. But I would tell my boss, like, but it works, the sale went up, but like you can't do it. I get frustrated by the fact that you're not allowed to be creative. So it actually gave me a motivation. Well, if I can scale their business, I can do it for my own. So that was my journey.
For sure. And how did this journey lead you into the curiosity towards AI? How did you get started with learning about AI itself?
Yeah, well, when I let's go back when I started my e-commerce business. I mentioned it. It was $20. I scale it pretty fast, utilizing actually AI tools back in
Oh, that
2012.
early.
Yes, very early.
Mm.
I used to sell products, beauty products through Amazon. And Amazon, they have the best
Yeah,
algorithm and technology built in. So it was a lot of pricing war, and you have to be the top dog to be on
yeah.
top of the chain in the e-commerce world. So I'm very good at analyzing data. I utilize AI back then, and that's how I was able to speed up and scale my company from $20 to $20 million business.
And this was the e-commerce company that you started. You mentioned you also did marketing for it. You tapped influencers, and really as early as 2012. That's something.
Yeah, so I've utilized. I was around with thought leaders in Silicon Valley that we're talking about
Wow.
AI early on. Two, I've been utilizing the technology in 2012. I'm surrounded with a lot of good people that build technology around AI in 2016. That's when I get involved about blockchain. I've heard about it, but I did not invest. So it's something super familiar for me. I started doing the influencer marketing 2018 by building the hotel brand in
Right.
Camiguin, sa Paraiso. So pretty early on, I think I have a grasp of seeing the future. I think my friend called me the pioneer of the future because when I know that it sounds good and I can see the data behind it and it makes sense to what's going on, I would jump into it, and that's always right.
For
So,
sure. So you have
mhm.
your beauty brand, you have your real estate company, you have these thought leadership persona. But going back to entrepreneurs who are, let's say, in the provinces, how do you think they'll be able to utilize AI? Because I know it's an emerging technology. We all know that. It's something that, if you mention AI to them, like their minds would be blown. So how do you think small entrepreneurs, I would say, or like enterprises who are just starting out, how do you think they would be able to utilize AI?
Yeah, so for depends on how big your company, right? If it's a solo entrepreneur that just wanting to make, let's say, for example, $5,000, $250,000, you're gonna utilize AI like what you guys are providing, right? Content creation. But for companies as have two or three staff, you can utilize AI by, you know, creating your SOP, your systems and processes. You can refine your processes, and we all know majority of entrepreneurs in the Philippines don't even know what that means, or what an SOP look like, or how to create an SOP, right? So those are the things that you can tap AI for your business. You can get ideas about it. You can pretty much do everything. You can basically build a company just utilizing AI at this point.
AI
It's
is
really,
your staff.
yeah, it is. If you merge humanness and AI, you can make magic at this point. It really is about just being, learn about things, that how you can leverage it. You can actually make a lot of money by leveraging AI at this point. It's something that us entrepreneurs should not be scared or intimidated by it, because we all know, you guys know, AI is like air. There's no way of getting around it. You really need it to function. We're seeing how it moves right now, and it's going to be even more faster in the next few years.
For sure. And in your being a thought leader, how did you get started? I know like you've been an entrepreneur yourself and then you stepped up to being an actual like global leader. How did you transition to that from doing your own thing to actually sharing what you know to other leaders across the world? How did you go through that journey?
Yeah, I think building an influence or thought leadership, it has to be curated in the right way, right? People need to trust you and see how credible you are, and you can do that by just having a simple conversation to the world leaders or your peers, your entrepreneurs, right? It's about being a good listener. I think that's the one key. Like, I think you see people that just talks about themselves the whole entire conversation. That's not how you build thought leadership.
Sure.
Thought leadership is about really listening and understanding the other person, and that's how you build influence. You don't you're not going to be likable if all you be becoming so narcissistic that talks about yourself, right? I think learning to listen and understanding and build a conversation, maybe say something that's really not forgettable to the other person, or to build a thought leadership is really, if you are willing to listen and have a good conversation that's meaningful and creating value to the other person, that's how you build influence.
For sure. And not a lot of leaders actually get a lot of these opportunities, right? I mean, maybe they can get started with just doing their own podcast or even just posting on Facebook, just like sharing their thoughts. But for you, you are at the global stage. You've been to various companies, you've talked to leaders and employees in IBM, Google, even Harvard Business School. What were your most memorable stories across all these stages so far?
Sometimes it's a little bit scary, and being Filipina, and I definitely look a little bit younger than I should. It's
You
very
do look
hard
young.
sometimes, right? Like, um sometimes it's like, especially if you're going to big stages, they don't really know who you are, then sometimes they think you're the staff, you're not the main keynote
Oh
speaker.
gosh.
It just happens to be even in Japan. But hey, it's part of being young. Sometimes sometimes I do take it personally, but I think at this point I get used to it. I just like meditate and I'll get over it. Right. It is something that you can't really argue with it all the time. It's just a perception of people, and sometimes, like, hey, it's whatever, how they view you, it's their problem, not yours. But it's still it's sting a little bit. I had to admit. But yeah, I think mostly I normally just show up after a talk instead of hanging out before the talk. Then once you're finished with your keynote,
Yeah,
and people just um you know you're the thought leaders there, they heard how you talk, and then you get the whole amount of respect. But if you do the other way, you're definitely
for
not going
sure.
to respond when you're so much younger. Yeah, so I think my favorite one is definitely one in Africa, because
Wow,
I
Africa.
definitely, yeah, I definitely did not expect of anything, but I've never felt so welcome, that they provide the
Mm.
security and people are so nice. And it just, the hospitality of people, I think that totally blows me away. Probably because there was some part of a judgmental part of me. Again, right? We can't help it. Like, I don't know what to expect. It was definitely scary. A lot of people said that's a scary place. And but my experience changed how I view people, and how it was such a nice experience in the end. So that was my favorite
Amazing.
stage. Yeah.
Where is this in Africa?
It was in Nigeria, actually,
Oh
with
my God. Wow.
the government paid me to fly out there. It was a little bit scary going to immigration. We have security with guns, but the people are so nice. It just
There's
Miss Kate, if I may ask, among all your talks, was there like a particular? Do you have any stories where a particular group was very like they were not very receptive to AI in general?
yeah.
no, I think at this point, um, everyone's actually very curious about it. They actually wanted
Mm-hmm.
to hear about AI. I remember I did a talk, I think January of this year in Thailand, but I was really doing more of a storytelling of my journey. But because they saw that I'm the founder of Global AI Council, they were kind of disappointed that I didn't talk about AI much. So it was the opposite, actually. Yes, but that was really a tech audience, male dominance audience. So they're actually expecting me to talk about AI. But people are so open because they're curious. I think at the end of the day, it's really how you open it, how you navigate it. You have to be super captivating early on for you to grab their attention.
For sure. And Kate, you've won a lot of awards, and I remember I ranted about being on list. It was Women's Month, people were on list, and I feel like it's like overused, I would say. But your list that you're on, like they're really like up there, high level list of powerful women who are doing business, who are entrepreneurs or advisors. What is your advice for women who want to be you?
Yeah, I think I responded to your post because for so many years I was just looking at this list like, when can I be part of that list, right? Like I was a dreamer at one point. I think the really key is, I think I would just got lucky that I built a high revenue company. So then that got me invited to mastermind group. I think find a community that are super open and welcoming to everyone, because we all know not everyone are I like that,
For
right?
sure.
But
Yeah.
I am part of this very curated group of entrepreneurs globally, where there's about 18,000 of us globally, and I built a good thought leadership in the community by showing respect and what I've done. I'm speaking or curating events, build a community. So that really elevates my personal brand. And I'm not sure if you guys have heard of Clubhouse back in the day in 2020.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Often
this
on Clubhouse. That was fun.
yeah. So the the early rise of Clubhouse, I actually created the very first entrepreneur community with
Wow.
120,000 members of entrepreneurs globally. So
That's a lot.
that definitely I mean, it heightened my name and personal brand, and I curated content for 2 years of nonstop and led 120,000 members in that um in that community alone. So people know me of how I'm really stick to integrity. If I have rules, I have rules. These are our core values. Even though you're popular, that doesn't mean you can get away with things. And I was very strict with that. And some people like me, some people don't like me. Well,
For
I'm
sure.
not everyone's cup of tea, but I stick to the core of what I believe in, how this should be run. And majority of people respect me more than anything else.
Definitely. That's a huge thing to have in your portfolio, building 120K. But you also mentioned when we were talking at the coffee shop, you mentioned something like local organizations not recognizing um, you know, your the things that you've done basically. There are groups here in the Philippines where they're like really stick to those who are known in the corporate world versus those who are bootstrapping, doing their entrepreneurial journey solo and doing it alone. Can you expound on that thought? I would love to hear more.
Yeah, I think I'm fascinated by the whole landscape of the Philippines. I think because in the Philippines we really embrace more of who's in a C-suite in a big company, right? You get rewarded. Oh, you work at, for example, I'm just naming, for example, Gcash. Then all of a sudden you're just elevated, which is you have that spot. But I think people need to understand that the entrepreneurs are the backbone of the economy who works really hard with no funding. I think we need to elevate that. The hustle that does work really hard, but for the Philippines, it's not even like you're being viewed as, I don't know, but I'm maybe I just got lucky. In the US, entrepreneurship are really viewed highly, way more than working in a corporate world.
Oh,
Because the fact that everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, this is your American dream, you build company, it's elevated so much. And that's why everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, because
yeah.
you can make as much money as you want, right? You have way more, you can be creative. So it's lopsided, very opposite here in the Philippines, and that's why it's a struggle. Because I mean, I know this is a podcast, but we all know the whole country of the Philippines is dominated by the same family. So it's hard for
Yeah.
smaller entrepreneurs to scale the way how you want it to be. And that's just a reality. But it's not as open mind as it's not as open as in the West, where entrepreneurship is really highly, you know, everyone wants to be an
Yeah,
entrepreneur. Yeah.
for
Mhm.
sure. Yeah. So you brought in Web3. You were part of the communities here in the Philippines, with AI as an emerging technology right now. Where do you see the Philippines going with this? I would say, like,
Yeah, well,
are the Filipinos ready for AI?
I think we have no choice but to embrace it if you want to
Mhm.
stay the game when it comes to AI. Web3, I don't think it's usable. We don't have the technology to embrace immersive world. Well, blockchain, crypto in general will stay, but the Web3 world, that's very hard to sustain in the Philippines, because we just don't have the technology to back to
Yeah.
function all of that, right? AI, we have no excuse but to embrace it. So whether we stay function as a country, but we need to embrace AI.
We need to. Yeah.
Mhm.
But why do you guys think there's a pushback? Like, I mean, for the three of us on the call, I mean, for us at DashoContent, AI is very much a part of our daily like operations. It's also, something we encourage our team and also our customers to adapt. And for you, Kate, especially, you're very much immersed in AI. So for us, I mean, for me personally, it's like, why aren't people using AI more? I don't understand why. But why do you think, Kate? Why do you think there's a pushback? Is it fear? Is it just laziness to try something new? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's lack of education and the fear that everyone's hearing in the media, and they're just like, then all of a sudden anything with AI, they're very close-minded about it, right? But if you
Mhm.
see it
Yeah.
as a whole, if you understand it, which you guys know, you really need it to function in the next few years. You cannot escape not utilizing AI. I mean, we've been using AI since 1950s, and now it's moving way faster. And you, there's really not an excuse for not to embrace it. Okay, so that's your personal choice, but you will be disrupted by your coworker who's utilizing AI or your competitor who's utilizing AI. So that's your choice. It's either you're gonna have a job, or you stay in business, or you don't have a job.
What do we say to entrepreneurs who want to just get started with AI? Where do they start?
I mean, as simple as utilizing ChatGPT, utilizing it for content, refining your SOPs. For goodness sake, I created a training video for my staff for the hotel business utilizing AI. I've been utilizing chatbots since 2018 with massive increase of hotel bookings. it just speed your work. It just, why would you not have more time for yourself to do yoga or eat out? Because AI helps you do that. Like it it's helping you to have more time for yourself.
Sure. And
Yeah, yeah.
speaking of true. So speaking of time for yourself, I'm really curious about something that you mentioned in your bio and something that you posted as well. Slow mad. What is it about?
Slow nomads is a term instead of nomad. So you go and you live in a country, soak it in, and then you move to another one. So that's what it means. Slow,
Oh,
kind of move around. So before the pandemic, my husband Dan and I, we've actually planned it, map it out that we want to be nomads. But nomads seems to be like really moving too fast in one country. So we want to be slow mads. I guess it's a new term for you to soak the culture before you move to the next one.
oh my gosh. And what's your favorite slow mad location so far?
I have a few. I really love the south of France. And recently I love Tokyo a lot. So I can live in Tokyo.
Oh my gosh, Tokyo. I've been there just once. I want to go back, but it's definitely a good country. Speaking of countries that are embracing technology, who do you think in Southeast Asia is going to be up there in terms of innovation and just the go-to place for techies like us?
Yeah, I think Vietnam is really ahead of their game when it comes to tech
Ah,
and dev. They're definitely way more, they're totally advanced. I have a company that I have a friend who runs a company who's thousands of dev in Vietnam. And I was kind of curious, like, hey, why is it Vietnam? I think there are probably some European influence of the being creative and open-mindedness that they're kind of way ahead than us in the Philippines. So Vietnam is definitely in Asia when it comes to tech, they're definitely ahead of their game.
and no wonder that they call us the VIPs. Like everyone is looking towards either Vietnam, Indonesia, or the Philippines, the VIP, as the next countries who are embracing growth. Indonesia's right up there as well. But what do you think is stopping the Philippines as a business advisor? What do you think is stopping the Filipino entrepreneur or tech startup founder from competing with these other countries?
I think it stems from our education. They're not allowing us to question everything. They just expect us to follow the rules, follow the books. I think unless we're going to make changes, we're not going to have a lot of creative people. It's just a way of thinking. We're not built into super creative and having a hard conversation of like, hey, I don't
True.
like your idea. Everyone take it so personally. When everyone takes it so personally, we can't be creative. Hey, it's not a big deal. But when you are, when you are, whether it's strategy or creating, developing something, if everyone's so sensitive about your opinion, then it doesn't move into building the best.
That's true, especially if we are really non-confrontational and they think that just because you pointed out something, it's going to like sound really difficult. No one wants difficult conversations in the Philippines. Like we shy away from that.
Yeah, like it's okay. Not everyone's gonna like our food. Look at the Jollibee, that guy who ever reviewed. The
True.
response to 90% of Filipino, like, don't come back here. Don't visit. Like you're just like, we take it everything so personally. Just
Mm.
because one opinion is hurtful, we shouldn't, who cares? We should move on and not take it so personally. But I think culturally it's hard for us. But I think for me, when I look at things, we are just not creative enough and have that thick skin that it's okay to be criticized and move on. Like, okay, hey, you don't like my work, then I'll move
That's
the
true.
other way and then figure out the next way. But we are afraid to get fired. That's automatic. Instead of, you know, quit, squeezing that juice in our head, we're scared to voice out what we think because we're scared of being judged, being inspired, or I don't know, we just want to conform with the norms, and that
Performance,
stops
yeah.
from being creative.
Yeah. One of the stats, I think, on some of the studies recently about AI shows that the Philippines are actually one of the early adopters of artificial intelligence all across the world. And yet, you know, when we talk about it, no one really seems to grasp AI. I think everyone's just underground about the things that we're doing, basically. But AI has been it's something that we do want to embrace. But what are the possible downsides of AI? What are the negative things that you've heard so far, Kate, about embracing AI?
Yeah, let's talk about the stats yet. I think that's coming from a lot of VAs, the virtual
Yeah,
assistants,
yeah,
that's why
yeah.
we're in the number one in that data. I think the thing that's what I'm scared of when it comes to AI is when we when we don't have regulation of what technology, what big giant can do. We all know it's already happening behind the scene based
Yeah.
on having friends that's developing things that sometimes AI just solve problems, but the people are working behind it don't even know how to get there. So that is scary to me.
It is. Yeah.
Once we hit the super artificial intelligence, that's even more scary. So I love and embrace AI. We need to have regulation in place so it doesn't go crazy like the cyber or whatever, that crazy movie that we're seeing. But it's definitely happening.
It's definitely happening. And AGI, as they would say, is something that people are looking forward to, maybe in the next, I don't know, like 5, 10 years. Speaking of the Philippines, though, we know that the president has created something. I'm not really sure what the actual roadmap looks like, but would you share with us some insights about what we have prepared inside in the
Yeah,
Philippines so far?
yeah, I think I saw his message during the what is a World Economic Forum, that he really
Mm.
wanted for the Philippines to embrace AI, which I gotta give him props for doing that. He sees it like we really have to jump on it and embrace it, because being the number one provider of BPO, we that that industry will be disrupted in the next 2 3 years at max. So that's that's a big producer of economy in the Philippines. I mean, we see it here. How many BPO large corporations that have presence here in BGC alone, or all over Manila?
Yeah, yeah. So I hope the BPO industry is quite prepared for what's coming with AI. So I made it the very last topic because I know you're really passionate about it. But talk to us about Global AI Council. How do you envision this will help the Filipinos and the rest of the world?
Yeah, absolutely. We're very clear with our mantra, and that's AI for good, free education for all. And that's the reason why we've been doing master classes 2 times a month. And this month we've done 10, this is our 10th master class. And what I'm proud about it is we've had professor from Stanford, previous Meta employee. We have kind of wide range of topics that you really have no excuse of not utilizing AI. If you're going to be disrupted, well, it's your fault for not listening. Right? But yeah, I'm really passionate about um, having the new generation to be fully equipped with the technology, so they know what they can do for their future, that they can survive and have a job, they can thrive and make a living. That was the mission behind it.
It's amazing. And I know recently you've like gathered up some of the best, I would say, and team up to collaborate on the Global AI Council. What's coming for the group? What are your next plans in the I don't know, next few months or years?
Yeah, so we've had a presence here in the Philippines. I'm building the team in Canada. We have presence in Malta. I'm building the team in Africa. So we have a global presence, but so that's super super exciting as we are scaling. I've never run a nonprofit, but I know for a fact that I've run, the longest running virtual summit in the world of 2 years. I mean, 85 days of nonstop, 24 hours. So I know I can deliver that. It's something super new and exciting for me. I love elevating and curating leaders. And so I enjoy doing it, and I'm learning at the same time. So I do get excited about it.
It's interesting. Okay. Miss C, do you want to do your rapid fire before we wrap up with Miss?
Yes, yeah. To end the episode, Kate, we always end with a few rapid fire questions. So answer them any way you like. So first off, are you or would you choose AI or human creativity?
Human creativity.
Nice. Second one, strategic planning or just going with the flow?
Strategic planning.
Nice. Scaling businesses or starting new ones?
Scaling businesses. Who wants to start a business?
All right. Focused work or multitasking?
Focus work.
Now, what trend do you think is overhyped, whether business, in tech, or anything under the sun?
Working for free.
Hey.
Amen.
All right. What's one skill you think every professional should know?
Grit.
Love it. And then aside from the Global AI Council monthly master classes, do you have any recommendations for our listeners, whether it's a book, a course, film, anything?
Yeah, I think I think we as Filipino, we really need to be good at negotiating, whether it's business or in life. So read Never Split the Difference. That's my favorite book by Chris Voss.
I'm gonna look that up. Definitely.
Same.
Thank you, Kate. So
Thanks, Kate.
yeah,
Thank-
so to wrap this up, anything you wanna mention for our listeners, anything they should look forward to with Kate? Where can they find you online? What's coming in the next few days? And yeah, please feel free to invite them.
Yeah, so I'm super active on Instagram, LinkedIn. If you wanna, I don't mind volunteering my time. If you need mentorship, whether it's a short call, just go to katehancock.com. I'm always open and willing to help anyone, especially women that's hardworking and wanting to make big in the world. I'm very passionate about that. So whatever that takes, whether it's a simple connection or a simple strategy or an advice, I'm super, super open.
Thank you so much, Kate. This has been a wonderful conversation, and I'm sure the listeners would agree. We learned so much from you. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your insights and your experiences here at the Wicked Thoughts podcast and Dash Ed. So once again, thanks, Kate, and looking forward to seeing your growth and with Global AI Council as well. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Kate. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that was the latest episode of Wicked Thoughts. Make sure to subscribe and join the host on The Wicked at thewckd.com. Thank you to our sponsors, the company Cebu, Third Team Media, Dasho Work, Dasho AI, and DashoContent, a content team for your marketing department. Tune in for more wicked conversations right here at Wicked Thoughts.